Peter.
And this is Britta.
Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to one and all here. Yes, a very first hybrid session of Chennai Storytelling Festival 2024. We are into our 12th edition this year, and this is our fifth online storytelling performance happening. I welcome all the children who are here. I welcome all the people who have come here to witness, and also the online people who are present here. So, why the festival went beyond India? So, I would like to give you a short note on that. So, when we started 12 years back, everything was offline. And yes, the German center where we are sitting right now was our first session where we had done our storytelling workshop. After lockdown, things changed, and that time when we had this festival going on, we used to have one or maybe two people coming out of India who would come here and who would do performances and who would teach us on storytelling. But after lockdown, we spread our wings. So we say, right, each coin has both the sides, the pros and the cons are there. Yes. So we got the pro side of it and we spread our wings around. And we have storytellers around the world who are participating in this festival. So we are very honored to welcome each and everyone who gives their insights and their styles of storytelling to us. So thank you so much. Thank you for being part of Chennai Storytelling Festival. So to begin with, kids, are you ready? Yay, super, super. So our very first storyteller is from Austria, Helmut Wittmann. And with him, we have the old Australian bagpipe, Franz Benninger. I'm sorry for the pronunciation. Please excuse me for that. And he'll be playing the instrument before Helmut starts the story. So are we all ready? Give thumbs up. Yeah. Super. Yes. So to you, sir.
So, welcome from Austria, and we're really glad to be part of the Chennai Storytelling Festival. In about 13 years ago, we were in Chennai in person. Franz played the bagpipe and I was there storytelling, and it was really a very, very great pleasure.
सच्ची का शानदार हुआ ना?
You can
सच्ची
hear
का
me?
शानदार हुआ ना? टाइम पास तो नहीं कर रहे ना? कभी बोलना पूछना पड़ता है भाई. आजा.
So you can hear me good? Yeah, it's a great pleasure to take part of the Chennai Storytelling Festival, and we thought, what kind of story would be the best to tell? And it's a very old Austrian fairy tale, a fairy tale that's in about 200 years old, but it's a very wise story. And it's also a very, very crazy story. So first of all, I have to explain a word. There's the word pfifferling. And Pfifferling means in Austria maybe mushroom. And a lot of people know when they find a special form of mushroom, that's a Pfifferling. But it has also a different meaning. It's a small piece of shit. Chicken droppings, for example, chicken shit. You say, oh, there's a Pfifferling. For example, when a baby, there's something in the clothes, it's just a Pfifferling, just a little bit. And that's important for the story. It's a crazy story and it's really a very wise story. So how to tell it? In Austria, we say, long, long ago. Maybe it happened yesterday. Maybe it happened just today. There was a farmer. And the name of the farmer was Hans. In English, you'd say John. And Hans was a rather simple-minded guy. But although he knew what to do, and his wife, she was called Elizabeth. Liesel, they called her in Austria. Liesel was nearly the same type of woman. She was simple-minded, but they had a good life. They were satisfied with their life. One day, they had very, very little money. So they said to themselves, what can we do? And she said, listen, we have our cow. It's the most precious thing we have. So go to the marketplace and sell the cow there and try to get a good price so that we have a lot of money to have a good life again. And Hans said, well, I'll do so. And so he took the cow and he went to the marketplace, but the way was very long. And when he went along, the cow went very slowly, then rather fast. And the cow was so fast, all the dirt came up into his face. And he said, oh, such a cow is a dumb animal. And when he was nearly at the marketplace, he saw a man selling a goat. And he said, oh, good morning, sir. You're up early. Yeah, the man said. So, what about making a deal? Oh, the man said, what kind of deal? If you give your goat to me, I'll give my cow to you. Oh, said the man, that's a good deal. Yeah, let's do so. And so Hans gave the cow to the man and he got the goat from the man. And the next moment, Hans said to himself, oh, what an incredible deal. So it's early morning, but I can go home. I made a great deal. And he turned by and went home. And he was so happy, singing, whistling. Oh, he said, what a good deal. But on the way, the goat suddenly stopped. And it made meh, 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 and it pushed him. It pushed Hans. And he said, oh, such a goat is also a very stupid animal. But that moment, a farm wife came towards him, and she had a lot of geese around her. Oh, said Hans, good morning. What about making a deal? Oh, she said, you want to make a deal? Yeah, he said, if you give a goose to me, I'll give my goat to you. Oh, she said, that's a good deal. And you really want to make it? Yeah, he said, I'll make it. And so she gave the goose to Hans, and Hans gave the goat to the woman. And then he went along. Oh, he was so happy. In Austria we say, like the bird in the hemp. He was so happy, singing, whistling, and he went along, but the goose went along, but suddenly it wanted to go to the right side and then to the left. Oh, the goose couldn't find the right way, the right direction, and Hans said to himself, "Oh, such a goose is also a very, very silly animal. Oh, I'd better had a shit, a little piece of piffling. Huh? It would be better than such a goose. Yeah, every piffling is better than such a goose." And when he said that, a maid in the farmhouse nearby, she heard that, and she took some paper, old paper from a newspaper, wrapped some chicken shit, some chicken droppings into the paper, took it, and gave it to Hans. "Oh, here you have your piffling." Oh, he said, "You want to give a piffling to me? Yeah, give the goose to me and you will get the piffling." "Oh," he said, "give a piffling to me for the goose?" "Yeah," she said, "you wanted it that way." Oh, he said, "Really? Really?"
Helmut, your screen is stuck. We are not able to hear anything, please.
The goat for the goose, and now I got a piffling. Oh, so great. And when he came to an inn, he went into the inn and he ordered a beer. And then he sat there drinking his beer. Oh, he was so glad, so happy. The next moment, some men came in, and when they were in the inn, they started to sniffle. Oh, they said, "There's something, yeah, strange in here. Something is smelling rather strange. Such a strange smell. What's that?" Oh, Hans said, "I don't know, but maybe it's my piffling." "Your piffling?" "Yeah." And he took it out of the pocket. "You have a piffling with you in the pocket?" "Yeah," he said. "I made a lot of great deals that morning." And he told them that he gave the cow for the goat, and the goat for the goose, and the goose for the piffling. And they listened to him, and they said, "Oh boy, when you will arrive at home, your wife, she will be very, very angry with you." "No," he said, "she will be happy as I am." "No, no, 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 no. Oh, she will be very angry with you. Oh, she will beat you up. We're sure." "No, no, no," he said, "my wife is as wise as I am, and so she will be really..." "Oh," he said, "you want to bet? We make a bet?" "Yeah," they said. "Good," he said, "let's bet, let's say, for 100 golden coins. So a bet makes a sense." "Yeah," they said, "let's do so. And you will have to pay." "No, no, no," he said, "I'm sure you will have to pay." "Good," they said. "Two of us will go with you, just to see what might happen." "Yeah," he said, "and take these 100 golden coins with you, because you will have to pay." "Oh no," they said, "but we will take the 100 golden coins with us, just to be sure." So he went to the house of the farmer, and when he arrived at home, his wife, she said, "Oh, Hans, you're back. So, what about the money? Could you sell the cow for a good price?" "Oh," he said, "much better than that." "Much better than that?" "Yeah. I exchanged Oh, he said, I got said the man to himself. Now she will get angry, and now he will have to pay. Oh, she said. Oh, how clever you are. We didn't have enough to feed the cow. We didn't have enough. So where's the goat? Oh, he said, I exchanged. Oh, you exchanged the goat too? Yeah, yeah. For what did you exchange it? What did you get for the cow, for the goat? Oh, he said, I got a goose. You exchanged the goat for a goose? Yeah, he said. Oh, she said. And the men, they said to themselves, hey, but now he will have to pay. She gets angry. Oh, she said, how clever. We have an empty bed. So when we slaughter the goose, we can fill the bed with the feathers of the goose. So, where's the goose? Oh, he said, my dear wife, I exchanged the goose too. You exchanged the goose too? Yeah. Yeah. What did you get for the goose? I got a pfifferling. A pfifferling. You got a pfifferling for the goose? Yeah. Oh, the man said to himself, but now she gets angry, and now he will have to pay 100 golden coins. Oh, Lord, said the woman. I'm so happy to be married to such a wise man. I have to tell you, an hour ago, I went to the neighbor's wife and I asked her for some salt. And she got really angry with me. She said, oh, you come to me for salt? You come to me for every piffling, for every shit. You come to me, to my house. She was really angry. Again, we have the piffling in our house. Oh, how wise you are, my dear man. So the man saw that everything was lost. They had to pay 100 golden coins. And then they said goodbye and went along. Hans and his wife Liesel had now a happy life because 100 golden coins. Oh no, they would never have gotten 100 golden coins for the cow at the market. But so they had not even 100 golden coins. They also had a pfifferling. And so they lived happily ever after. And as we say in Austria, and because they didn't die, so they are still alive. And maybe the reason for that is that the story is still alive. And if you let the story come to your mind and to your heart, you will feel it's a crazy story, but it's a story that helps really to have a good, fine, and lucky life.
Super. Amazing story, Helmut. So, children, yes, sir, please.
I thought maybe it's a little bit a crazy story because they sell a cow and you hear the story in India.
Stories, right? We can bring anything to life. So that's the advantage of doing storytelling, I guess.
Yeah,
Bring crazy
certainly.
things to life, and yes, everything is possible with storytelling. So tell me, why did you select to tell this story today?
It's first of all, when I said to myself, when I'm part of the storytelling festival in Chennai, I'm from Austria, so it's good to tell an Austrian story. Yeah? And
Absolutely.
I think I told you it's a really crazy story, but it tells a lot how important it is to see the best side of life. Yeah? You know, and Hans, he makes in every situation the best of it. Huh? He enjoys life, and I think it's very important to go through life with a heart full of joy. Huh? And that's the way he lives. Huh? If you think about that, you say, hey, are you crazy? You can't give a cow for a goat, and you can't give a goat for a goose. But in that situation, it's, oh, it's fine, I'll do so. And and at last, he's a rich man, and he has a good life, and he's always happy. And I told the story years ago for people from America. They were in Austria and they were enormous rich, very, very rich people. And I told them, listen, that's a story about the Austrian way of making business.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So we have a comment from Tanya. Thank you. This is one of my favorite stories. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you so much. Yes, kids, would you like to say something? Anybody from the audience? Yes, Pratigya, please.
Need to get up. So, hi, Helmut. What a fun story. Um, a cow, and then in return you get fiffling. Did you say? Is that the right word?
A
A
piffling.
fiffling. 100 gold coins and fiffling. If only I could control my anger and earn that much, I would be a very rich woman myself. So, thank you for sharing that wonderful story. Thanks a lot. Lovely.
Thank you.
Yes, so we open out to audience. Yes, yes, Mora, please.
Yes. Hello, Helmut.
Hello.
I'm in Munich, Germany. So the accent is familiar, and I had the pleasure to hear you telling Nasreddin stories in Penzberg with Mehmet Dalkilic.
Yeah, years ago.
Right, and at the festival in Nuremberg, and I love the story I heard from you, and it was really a story I needed to hear because I was in a mood. Oh, they never pay the storytellers well. I don't get enough. They don't appreciate, and this is sort of that goes absolutely in the opposite direction. What do I make out? How do I make the best out what I have? So it's really what I needed to hear, and I'm very grateful. And it's good to see you all in Chennai. And I even don't even have to go to Austria to see you, so that's wonderful.
In
Okay,
June, we have a great international meeting of storytellers here in Austria.
okay, when?
From the 13th of June to the 16th of June, there is here in the valley a great international meeting of storytellers. So everyone who wants to take part is invited to come
Oh, okay, thank you.
this June.
Yes, sure.
Okay,
Ah,
see.
thank you. Anybody else, please?
They, they need to come up to the table if they want to
Yeah.
talk.
Good, come here and talk. Come. Yes, so you have a feedback from a small girl, Helmut.
Ah, yeah, very good.
Long stories we didn't understand the full thing.
Ah,
It was a very long story, so I didn't understand the full thing.
I couldn't understand.
Yeah,
It was
Sheetal, why don't you repeat the
Story?
question?
Yes, it was a very long story and she couldn't follow it fully because maybe the accents you would like to say.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
But maybe there's someone in Chennai to tell. There are a lot of good storytellers to tell the story.
We'll tell her this story later. We'll tell it
Yeah.
again.
Yes, we will
Maybe
Eric.
somebody will
that.
translate it into Tamil for her.
Yes. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else would like to give any insights on the story, any feedback? Okay. So thank you so much, Helmut. It was
Was a
honor
pleasure, really.
for us. Yes.
Goodbye.
Yes.
All the
Bye-bye.
best for the storytelling festival.
So much, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye. So we go move on to our next storyteller, that is
Oh,
Stefania.
actually, Sheetal, before we do that, I think we really need to thank our host at the Goethe Center, especially Dr. Shubhashri Vijayakumar. Is she in the hall now?
She's not there, Eric. I was
Ah.
waiting for her to come.
Yeah, maybe
in.
she's outside in the hallway, but we really
Sure.
want to thank her. And maybe later, if she's nearby, she could say a few words.
Sure. We
Okay,
will
I'm
do.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. Thank you. So our next storyteller is Stefania Ganzini from Italy. Yes, to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I still see Helmut on video. But so the story I'd like to tell you today, well, it's not an Italian folklore. It's actually an original story by Francis Dubois. And but I've changed it quite a lot. I'm also considering the topic of this year's storytelling festival, and so I'm not going to tell you the title now, or at least not the original title. I'm going to tell you the title that I've given to the story because I'm going to tell it from the perspective of one of the main characters. And my title is The Inner and Outer Jam. And so the question I make you at the beginning is whether at the end you can guess what's the outer and what's the inner jam. So
You
sorry,
said jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I go? Yeah. Shall I go? Shall I start?
Yes, please, please.
There was once a very rich and powerful king who had a very big and very unusual ruby that was beyond price. It was such a unique gem that everybody thought that that gem was the secret of the king's wealth and power. And the king, well, actually, he thought it too. And so he was very jealous of his ruby, and he didn't show it to anyone. And he kept it covered with the golden cloth, a precious golden cloth, and he kept it locked in a room that nobody could access. And the first thing that he did every morning when he woke up was to rush to that room, unveil the ruby, and gaze at it with great pride. But one day, when he unveiled the ruby, he saw that the ruby had upon it a scratch. But how was it possible? Oh, what could have happened? Because he was sure that that scratch was not there the night before, and nobody had access to that ruby. Nobody except himself. And so the king started to wonder, may it be that I've damaged the ruby myself? Maybe that's because I've looked at it for too long, that I've gazed at it for too much. Oh, no, but what do I say? That's impossible. Oh, my goodness, that ruby's getting me crazy. But in that very moment, the king felt a strange shiver running down his spine, and he couldn't help but think that that scratch could be a sign of misfortune. It could be a sign that he was about to lose his wealth and power. And so that scratch had to be repaired. And so the king called all his palace's jewelers to examine the ruby and see what they could do to repair it. And all the jewelers, well, they examined the ruby very carefully. But at the end, they said to the king, "Your Majesty, we're really, really sorry, but that's a very unusual scratch, and there's nothing that can be done without causing further damage." The king was devastated, and so he offered a lavish reward to any jeweler who could repair his ruby. And many jewelers came, actually, not only from his country, but also from many other countries, because, well, the reward was really very big. It was a very big sum of money, and so they all wanted to have a try. But again, when all of them looked at the ruby and examined the scratch, they all said, "Oh, Your Majesty, we've never seen something like that. I'm afraid that this scratch cannot be repaired, and we are so sorry." And so the king was really desperate. And he no longer spent his days looking at the ruby. Oh, no, he didn't look at it at all. And he kept it covered with a golden cloth, fearing that otherwise the scratch could become bigger and his wealth and power smaller. Until one day, one of his servants said to the king, "Your Majesty, I've heard of a very old retired jeweler who lives in a very, very remote village, but is said to be very experienced in working with diamond gems." "Really?" thought the king. And so immediately sent for the old jeweler. And after a few days, the old jeweler arrived at the palace. But, well, the king didn't really expect a man like that, because the old jeweler was an old, bent man, but rather shabbily dressed. And so the king was a bit puzzled, because he thought, well, he's very old, I knew it, but look at his clothes. I mean, if he was so skillful, he should have become a very rich man. And if he's not, perhaps he's not so skillful after all. But then he looked closely at the old jeweler, and he looked at his eyes, and he saw a strange light in the old jeweler's eyes, and he felt that the same shiver that he had felt when he had discovered the scratch. And so he took his ruby and showed it to the old jeweler, and he asked the jeweler, "Sir, would you please examine my ruby and tell me whether you can repair it?" And then the old jeweler did something that the king did not expect at all, because he placed his ear against the scratch and started to listen in silence. But what are you doing?" asked the king. "Shh, I'm listening to the ruby's voice and what the ruby would like to tell us, what the scratch really means." "What?" thought the king. But the ruby hasn't got a voice. It's just an object. This man must be completely crazy, and I'm crazy too if I'm going to listen to him. But in that very moment, he could hear the old jeweler's voice saying, Your Majesty, I've listened to the ruby's voice, and now I know its desire. So I can tell you that I cannot repair your ruby, but if you wish, and if you trust me, I can make the ruby even more beautiful. Well, as you can imagine, the king was, very, very skeptical. But then again, he saw that strange light in the old jeweler's eyes. And again, he felt that strange shiver running down his spine. And so he just said, all right, I will trust you. And so he gave the ruby to the old jeweler. And the old jeweler took the ruby. And he was given a room in the palace where he could work. But the king could not see what the old jeweler was doing because the old jeweler had locked the room. And so the king, by placing his ear against the door, could just hear the old jeweler working, cutting and polishing for days and days. Until one day, the old jeweler opened the door. He was holding something in his hand, but it was covered with a golden cloth. What was it? What had he done with the ruby? And when he handed it to the king, well, the king gazed at the golden cloth and he hesitated for a moment. But then he looked up. And the old jeweler wasn't saying a word, but his eyes spoke for him. And they were just saying, don't worry, go ahead. And so the king took a deep breath and then lifted the golden cloth. And so he could see that out of the damaged ruby, the old jeweler had carved the most delicate rose with its stem formed by the scratch. And so in that very moment, the king could feel his heart filling with love, filling with joy, filling with beauty. And now, yes, he could too hear the ruby's voice and its hidden message. If you see any scratch in the world, just use your skills and power to repair it. And that's what the king then did, no longer fearing of losing his wealth and power. And so, my friends, and I also would like to ask it to the children, I leave you to ponder, is there in your life, in the world around you, is there any scratch that you can repair and turn into something more beautiful? And then I would like to ask you, the children, if you can guess now what was the inner gem and what was the outer gem out of my title.
Amazing story. Yes,
Thank
that
you.
was a really wonderful story. Yes, so children, I was asking you something. So what is that something which you would like to repair and make it into a more beautiful thing? Huh? I don't know. Okay.
And
Come
also
on.
something small, could be also something very, I don't know, maybe a broken toy of one of your friends, for example.
That's what I was going to come to, something which is broken and you can make it, you can make it into something really beautiful.
Yes.
Yes, I'll give you an example. Like there was a candle, my favorite candle. Once when I was not there, it was burned. Okay, and the shape of the candle was not the way what I liked it. So what I did was I carved it. Okay, and I made it into a beautiful flower design on it, like very similar to what she told in the story. So yes, please come on the stage. Tell your name, okay?
And also there are 19 computers connected to this session. People are welcome to speak ideas, even if your video is not on. Vandana has said the story is awesome. Maybe after this young person speaks, Vandana, you might tell us what in particular you found awesome about it. Okay, please, young man, please go ahead and speak.
We are all shy.
Yes.
Hi.
Yes, you can speak. You can speak. It's directly in the computer. Yes, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Samyuk from PAP5B Lady Andal School. So once me and my brother were playing some football inside our house and we broke an antique vase which my mother bought from Thailand. And there was like a huge scratch on it, like it covered up half the thing, and my mom was really angry. So I think so I've seen those videos where they just take something which they think is ruined and they make something beautiful out of it. I think with that scratch, I could have made many things. Like I could have made a treasure map, I could have made a lot of stuff. So that's one thing.
Thank you. That's exactly the idea. So if we just look at things from another perspective, maybe something that's not bad turns into something beautiful. Thank you. That's an excellent example.
Thank you. What's your name?
Samyuk.
Samyuk. Super, Samyuk. That was amazing. Good job. Yes, please. We have one more student who would like to share her thoughts. Say your name loud. Yes.
My name is Anaika, and whenever there's any waste paper or anything that I think I could reuse, I always mostly reuse it and make something better out of it. Like, I sometimes use all my waste paper and make paper mashes and make some shapes out of it, which I can display.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Anaika. That was amazing idea.
So
Yes,
Shilpa or Vandana, do you want to elaborate on your thought?
Thank you.
And Moira, I think, Moira, you had your hand up.
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
if there's nobody before me, Sheetal, I also want to thank you for the moderation and for making us meet children from the other end of the world. It's so beautiful. And Stefania, your story just seemed to carry on the thought of Helmut's story. It fit in so well, and I couldn't think of an object which got sort of better by being repaired, but I think that's what we storytellers do all the time. And I'm sure you also found it that when you get stuck in a story, something doesn't fit, you can't remember that part, it always has a meaning. And once you direct your attention to it and find out why is it stuck, what does it need, the story gets another depth. So I think that what you said about the ruby also applies to that. And last thing, it reminds me of a quote I just heard from a famous Hasidic rabbi, Rabbi Menachem Mendel from Kotsk, who said, "There is nothing so complete like a broken heart." And I think that goes in the same direction. Okay,
Yes.
thank you for the
Thank you.
story.
Yes. So
Thank
I
you.
think
Thank
she
you for
was
the
telling the same thing, the inner jam and the outer jam. That's what she was pointing at. And you said it very correctly.
yes.
Yes. Yes. Anybody else, please? Yes, Pooja. We have one person, a storyteller, in fact, from the audience. Hi, Stefania. I just want to say
Hi.
I just want to say I love the way you expressed and your expressions. I mean, I felt so much in love with your story. I just loved your expressions. I mean, when you were looking at the gem, I was like, I could feel the gem. Your
Thank
eyes
you.
spoke wonders. So it was beautiful. And the way the king looked at the gem and the scratch and when you said the shiver down the spine, I also felt it. So it was very involving. Yes, I love the way you modulated the entire story. So thank you for sharing the story and bringing the story to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pooja. Yes, do we have anybody else?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Vandana, please.
Congratulations to Stefania. It was so nice. Your facial expression, modulation, actually we could visualize the whole story right in front of our eyes. So congratulations, good job. And the best thing about is if anything happens, like something broken, as you told in the story, so we need to have patience and wait. What can be done with it? And then as the inner gem, so we should use our skills. I feel what I got from it is what all skills we have and to better it. And as I'm a school librarian, so we often take up best out of waste. So what all unused cardboards, other things are there, so we just collect it, not me, the work experience teacher, and then they make beautiful models out of it. So I could relate to this story. Thank you. That's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vanna. Yes. Anybody else, please? Thank you, Stefania. And we will move on to our next storyteller. Thank you so much. Yes. Our next storyteller is Britta from Germany. Britta, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Please,
Hallo.
Britta.
Herzlich willkommen aus Berlin. Ich bin eine deutsche Erzählerin. And yeah, welcome from Berlin. I'm a German storyteller and I've been storytelling for about 10 years. I actually mainly tell for children in schools every week. And this is, yeah, what I mainly do. And at the end of the year, those children have a repertoire of, because they're telling the story back to me. So at the end of the school year, they have about 30 stories to tell, which is great for the community. And that's, I think this is the topic of this year's Chennai Storytelling Festival. So that's why I'm mentioning it here. And yes, I'm also part of Tellers Without Borders and Helmut Wittmann, who we heard earlier. He's actually part of that frame network as well. And we are trying to tell or support this intercultural idea and also to tell for people in crisis or in areas of crisis. And I don't want to talk much about this, but in this whole thing, I've been a few years ago at a storytelling conference called FEST, Federation for European Storytelling. And some of you know it probably, yes. And in 2018, it took place in Ireland. And at every conference, we are telling lots of stories and we're exchanging about our projects and train each other, but also especially there because it is the hot spot of storytelling, I suppose, in Europe. there were many stories. And there was one woman who told a story, a very short one, and her name was Shonali. And this story stuck to me since 2018. And it's a short, but quite a special story. And maybe it's special because Shonali herself is quite a special woman. She is a Drutzila, it's called, and she is part of a tradition, a Jewish tradition, where stories are passed on from one generation to the next. And she was, since the age of 4, she heard from her grandmother stories, which is a big cycle of stories, but which has only been passed on orally. And now I contacted her to ask her about this story, and of course she can remember. And she advised me to, because she only had it in spoken word, she advised me to look it up again in written, if I find it anywhere written down. But guess what? I couldn't find it anywhere. But I decided anyway to tell you this short story and everything that stick to my mind to this story since I heard it in 2018. Yes. So, once there was a man and a wife and a woman and their son. And the son, he had grown up and strong and skilled enough to become a hunter. So he was allowed to go out on a hunt with his father. So they left and wanted to stay out as long as it took, and maybe even for several days. Yes, and they stayed away for several days. And one day, the father returned. He returned alone. The son had died on the hunt. And he knew that if the mother were hearing about this, it would break her heart. When he arrived at home, the mother and his wife, the mother was waiting for them. Hey, there you are. How did it go? And where's my son? My dear wife, please do me a favor and go to the neighbors and ask them for a pot in which never a meal of sorrow has been cooked in before. Will you do that? Yes, yes, I will. And so she took off and went to the neighbors. And the husband, he waited for many, many hours. Eventually, she returned. My dear husband, I went to all the neighbors, but none of them had a pot in which never a meal of sorrow has been cooked in, and everyone told me their story. But I come with empty hands. I could not bring a pot. My dear wife, now get one of our pots, because now we are cooking a meal of sorrow. Our son died. When the mother heard this, it struck her hard. It was almost unbearable. But she stayed because she knew that she wasn't alone. Thank you. Dankeschön. Yes, that was quite a short story, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you, Britta, for the wonderful short story. Yes, it was very heart-touching, I would say. And why did you choose to tell this story? Can you please tell us?
Well, it touched me quite a lot when I heard it, and that's, I suppose, why it stuck to me too. And I think it tells also a big story about community, and that we are, if we choose to be in a community and if we rely on a community, we can survive quite well or better than we think we could by ourselves. So talking to one another and telling stories about each other's lives, and not also the funny one and the good holiday stories, but also telling about our injuries, and I think it makes us more human, and it gives us, it can help us to see each other actually in the whole picture, and not only the shiny, happy storytelling or whatever we are faces, but be real about life with all our broken hearts. One colleague from Munich, she talked about this earlier, commenting. Yes.
Very true. The life has to go on, I would
Yes.
say.
Mhm.
Yes. So, children, would you like to give any feedback on the story? Okay. Anybody from the audience? Yes, Pratigya, please. Hi, Britta. Pratigya here. I remember meeting you online here at Gethe at the festival last year,
Yes.
at the hybrid event. That was a very long, elaborate, detailed visual story. And this one is a very crisp and short and to the point story. So, loved both the variations, both the different kind of stories you brought to us. So, just want to thank you for that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah. Dankeschön. Yeah.
Thank you, Pratigya. I will open up to the audience, please.
I've heard a Buddhist version of that story, where somebody is invited to, go around town and try to find a home that death had not touched. And of course, they couldn't find such a home.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Moira.
Anybody else?
Moira, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Britta. It's funny talking to you via India from Munich to Berlin. I find it so amazing that such a short story, which is so much to the point without any decoration, has the same effect. Like, it reminded me a lot of that, I don't know whether you were there, that marvelous story that which Howard Lieberman told yesterday. And oh, you must watch the recording. And he changed his story to a third person just to make that point. It's not all about me, it's about us. And it made such a difference, and that's the difference that this story made, and which helped that I think that's what they call shared humanity. So it still hurts and it's still awful, but we're in this together, and this is hopefully the way the planet will be moving. So thank you so much for this story. I really get the goose pimples. Thanks.
Dankeschön, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a message on the chat box. We have a similar story from Buddhist Tales, Kissa Gotami. This is given by Sita Srinivas. She is not able to connect with audio or video. So, yes. Okay, and she has also given the site name from where you can see this story. A very, very similar story, though. So,
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Sita. Yes, anybody else, please? Anybody from the audience? Yes, you're most welcome. Hallo Britta, guten Tag. Erstens, vielen Dank für Ihre Geschichte. Es war so schön. Nowadays, even in the social media, all we see is the happy news of the others. So, like,
many of us are depressed and like we feel guilty. We think that only our lives are miserable. So as you said, it's not just the happy moments in our life should be shared. Sometimes we need to like empathize each other by sharing our hardships as well. That motivates others sometimes. And from your story, I loved the way that how the husband handled the news. You know, even though it was sad news for him, he concerned. I mean, he cared about his wife. He wanted to like take the news gently so that the wife is not in a shock or surprise. So thank you for sharing this story and thank you for narrating it so well. Thank you.
Yes. I'm glad that this came through, because I think this is also what we are looking for all, to have a caring surrounding between male and female also, or whatever relationship you are in. And I think this is very strong, yes, in the story, yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, so we'll move on to our next storyteller, Marina Maria. Yes, she's from Sweden. Welcome, please. Over to you, ma'am.
Now, here I am. So nice to see you this year again. My name is Marina Maria Granlund, for those who don't know me. And I'm an actress and a storyteller since many years back. And I'm going to tell, it says in the program, 2 short stories. Maybe it will be 3. 1, 2, 3. All the good things are 3. So I will start like this. So once upon a time, there was a fox, a little fox waking in the morning. And he was so hungry, he was sniffing a little bit here and sniffing a little bit there, but there was nothing to eat. So he went out to find something to eat on the fields, in the forest. He even went to the marketplace in the town. But there people were shouting at him, "Go away, you sly fox." And so he went away. Then he came to a tree, and in that tree there was a fox. No, there was not a fox. There was a crow, a gray, dusty crow with a black-gray hat on the top of the head. But in the beak, there was a big, sweet, soft piece of cheese, and the fox felt the water in the mouth, and he was thinking of how good it will feel to have that down in his stomach. So he said to himself, "Okay, everyone is saying I'm a sly fox, so let's see how it will be to be sly." So he crossed his legs, he lay down and put his head on the top of the legs and closed his eyes. And then then suddenly he looked up. And then he looked up again. And suddenly he said, "Oh, what a beautiful hat! And such shining, shimmering feathers you are having." The crow sitting up in the tree was looking at the fox and thinking, "Oh, I better watch myself. I wonder what the fox is out for." But the fox continued, "Oh, such a beautiful eyes. Oh, they are so shining, twinkling like stars." Now the crow started to feel that it was nice to hear those beautiful words. And the fox continued, "Oh, that big, what a beautiful, strong beak you have. I'm so sure that that little tongue of yours is so beautiful." And now the crow had lost himself. So to show the little tongue, he opened the beak to put out the little tongue, he shouted, because at the same time, that soft big cheese was falling down into the big mouth of the fox. So good. Thank you, said the fox, and went away. And up in the tree, there was still sitting the crow, looking at the feathers. They were not shining. Oh, I let the fox fool myself. I fell for the flattering, beautiful words. I will never do that again. And so the story ends. But of course, it's nice to say beautiful words to someone, but you better mean them also. My mother, she was a beautiful and very talented businesswoman. And she used to tell me this, that you always have to take care of your customers. And you have to be true to them. My mother, she was famous for dressing up anyone with beautiful dresses, nice shoes, or whatever. It could be the rich person. It could be the bank officer, post officer, shop officer, or even the fisherman. The fisherman might come with a big box of fish, and she would give him a nice shirt and a nice pair of trousers. And everyone who went out from her shop, people were saying, "You look so nice. Where did you buy those clothes?" "Oh, it was at Britain, at the Mästerkatten boutique or golf shoppen or all the shops' names she had." So she had a very good intuition. She could see people and she could see beyond. And I grew up in this shop, and I could help out as soon as I could speak. I was looking at the others, what they were doing. I was hearing what they were saying, and I was helping out. And once I asked her, what about this telling, if something is very big and I say, maybe you should stitch a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here, and it will be nice. And she said, no, be aware, you shall never fool the customer. You have to be true to them. And then she used to tell me a story. And she used to tell it in a dialect. I will try to do it in English. So she said, once upon a time, there was an old man dressed in ragged clothes with a stick. And now he was standing outside a shop, a lamp shop. And he was looking at a huge, big crystal crown, a crystal chandelier. But in Sweden, we call it crystal crown. It was huge, big, with lots of small leaves of crystals like earrings, full, hundreds of them. And they were shimmering from the light of the sun and the lamplight. The old man, he was looking at that crown, crystal crown, and he opened the glass door into the shop, and he went into the shop, and in the shop, there was a young woman. And the young woman came towards him, very polite, and said, "Please, sir, how can I help you?" She looked at the man and the dresses he was wearing. And the man, he said, "I would like to know how much is that crown, that crystal crown. Vad kostar kristallkronan där uppe?" "Oh, den är dyr, ja. That one is very expensive, she answered. Let me show something else. But the man continued. Kan jag få reda på vad den kostar? Can you please tell me how much it's cost? And the young woman, she continued. Oh, that one is so expensive. Please, let me show you something else. And she turned away from the man. The old man, his fist was hardening, and he took his stick and he lifted the stick and he hit the crystal crown with a bang. And when she turned around, he opened his jacket and took out a bunch of paper money. And he threw it on the desk. You know, this man, he was the richest man in the town, maybe even in the whole country. So, as my mother said, never judge. Or if you judge, because we do, use your imagination and see beyond your imagination, because you never know who the person is, who the customer is, who's standing in front of you. But then she said, there's one thing more I want you to know. And so this story comes. You know, in Christmas time, here in Sweden, we cut the pine tree, the Christmas tree, like we call it, and we take it into the house and we decorate it and put a star in the top. So once there was a garden, and in that garden there were lots of trees. And in the corner there was a big, big Christmas tree, a pine tree. And one day, the pine tree was hearing someone sobbing and crying. Who's crying? He said. Who's crying? He said. It was the apple tree crying. But why are you crying, dear apple tree? Oh, it's so unfair. What is it that is unfair? Oh, it's so unfair. Yes, please tell me. I can't help you if you don't tell me. It's so unfair. I also want to have a star in the top of my branches. Oh, said the pine tree. But you, my dear, you are having such a beautiful, sweet-tasting apples in your tree that makes people so happy and healthy. But the apple tree didn't want to listen to that. No, that's so unfair. I want to have a star in the top. And also they are putting glitter in your tree and those crystal balls in different colors around you and are happy and so. Then the pine tree tried again. But remember, in springtime, my dear apple tree, when you are blossoming with your tree is full of small white flowers, sweet smelling flowers, and all those flowers are making the humans' hearts open up and be happy because the spring and summer is coming. But the apple tree continued, no, I don't care. I want to have a star in the top of my tree. And also the children are dancing and singing around you. Now, the pine tree didn't know what to say. But in this garden, there was a gardener. And that gardener, he had been hiding, listening to what was said. And now he showed himself and he went towards the apple tree. And he said to the apple tree, please don't be sad. Don't be sad. And then from the top of the tree, he picked an apple. And he took a knife. And he cut the apple, not like this, in this way. And he said to the apple tree, please don't be sad. It's possible that the pine tree is having a star at the top. But you, my dear, you have the star inside yourself. And so he opened the apples and he showed the inside of the apple. And there was a star. And not only one, there was one in the other half also. And remember, when you give the apples to the humans and to the animals to eat, you also remember them, that they also have a star inside them. And now, finally, the apple tree was so happy to hear that it also had a star, not on the top of the tree, but inside every apple. And this story tells us that also you and you and you have a star inside us. And if you have hard to find it, just take an apple, open it, and eat it, and you will remember that. And this is the third lesson my mother wanted to teach me. Give to others, but remember to love your own star also. Thank you. That was the wisdom of my mother. And now I give it to you.
Thank you, Marina. This was super, and the way you changed all the stories together was really amazing, and I loved your voice modulation. It really took me to where really it was happening, you know. So it was really amazing. Superb. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.
I'll
And
open.
something,
Yes,
yeah, I
please.
just want to tell that when I usually when I tell this to children, especially the late stories, so I often tell them to take a piece of paper, remember the story, and draw the story, especially this
Draw.
one, the apple tree and the pine tree and so.
Yes, yes. And I love the star among us. Yes, we all have that among us, and we need to really see it.
Yes, you have
So
to.
superb. Yes. Yes, to the audience. Yes, please.
Marina, it's so clear you have such a big background in theater, and it's just a pleasure to be in the presence of a theater person such as you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was very nice to find, you know, I was supposed to tell, I was thinking I was tell another story, but a few weeks ago, I just felt, no. And then something came up to me about my mother, and somehow I connected these stories with the knowledge I got from my mother. So please, Shital is there.
Yes, I'm Jetsi and I'm a teacher. I teach grade 5 students, and it was lovely seeing you share all the stories. It was so dramatic, so beautiful. You couldn't see us, but we were all, looking at you from the corner of our seats. Besides that, the story of the crow and the fox, although it's a household here, I thought always the story was told, and the end of it, the moral was, don't be like the crow, be shrewd, be clever, and all that. But I was surprised when the perspective shifted to the fox, actually. I just remembered you saying, do not flatter and just mean what you say. I think as we grow up, we are rediscovering the same stories on different levels. And I could see the beautiful transition between the themes. You started off saying, mean your words, and moved on to don't be judgmental. And from there, moving on to being kind and encouraging others. I think it's the level we ourselves can see ourselves going from not being very judgmental to going to a stage where we can encourage others. I think it's a beautiful journey in itself. I love how you had transitioned from one theme to the other progressively. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the amazing insights on the story. Kids, do you want to tell something? Which was your favorite one? The last one? You want to come here and tell? It was so surprising to see a star inside the apple, isn't it? Have you ever noticed it? Yes, Mama always removes that and gives it to us, isn't it? We never see what is actually there inside. Yes, please, please. Samyuk. Yes, Samyuk is here to test.
So,
Yes.
so first I would just like to say how beautiful how you just told the story. It was really heart touch. It was really heartwarming, and I could feel the connection between the author and the reader. Also, my grandmother always used to tell stories like this, especially the one with the fox and the crow. And like my teacher Jency ma'am said, as we move on, we rediscover stories and we find new meanings to them. So a thing I just liked about your story is the way you saw it in a different perspective, and everyone else just looks at it from another perspective, and you have a unique way of seeing it. So that's a thing I really liked about the way you said your stories.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was so nice to see also that there were so many children, young people in the audience. So that also inspired me in the telling, because telling when there's adults or when there are children, it changes you a bit. So I was very happy to see so many children.
Yes. And I think he's in 5th grade, but he is able to explain it so well. I mean, very impressive, Samyuk. Yes, please come on stage. We have one more girl.
Hello, my name is Krisha. So what I wanted to say is, that, the you also acted while you said that I like the most about the stories. Like I could even understand everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So I think kids can relate it so well. I mean, each one has, yes, please. You're most welcome. We have one more in the audience. She's the next storyteller.
Hi, Marina. So,
Hi.
I'm sure like everyone spoke about the three beautiful stories that you have just told us, but something that stood out to me, and I think a few comments have pointed this out, is as someone who is fascinated by the acting profession and has dabbled a little bit in theater, uh, I see how that's informed your storytelling, and that shows that storytelling is, or language even, goes beyond just words and its expression and its emotion and it's all of those lovely things that you so beautifully and all the other storytellers, utilized wonderfully to communicate these amazing stories to us. So thank you so much. We were absolutely entranced by you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's true. Wonderful.
Over to audience. Online. Anybody is there who would like to say something? So we had a very beautiful comment from Harjit Singh. Very impressive use of whole body and changes in tonality and expressing emotions. Very beautiful and chain of stories. Yes, he just left and went. So yeah, thank you to Harjit Singh too. Okay, thank you, Marina. And we will move on to our last storyteller of today from Chennai, our very own Pooja Giri. So over to you, Pooja.
Good afternoon. My name is Pooja, and today I have a beautiful story all the way from Africa. Children, I'm going to start off my story and all the audience out there with a song. It's from the movie Lion King. I'm sure some of you have heard it. Some of you adults also can join. Yes. So let's start singing. I've changed the tune and the words a bit, not the tune, the words to suit my story. A whim away, 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 a whim away. Hear the story, this beautiful story from the land of Africa. The wise eagle and the dolphin help out Mazande Daba. Whim away, a 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 whim away. This a story, a beautiful story written by Jacina. The spirit king and the queen give the magical shell to Mazan Didaba. So, long ago, I'm sure all of you have heard this, so long ago, I can't remember how long ago, there was a time when there were only villages all across the world. And in one such village lived a lady called Mazandri Daba. She lived with her two children, a boy and a girl, and a husband. Mazandri Daba loved her family a lot. She taught her children how to stitch clothes, sew baskets, catch fish, and many things. And the children did exactly that, though they were naughty like some of us and some of you sitting out there. And then they would go to the sea every day, catch some fish, swim in the water, splash and dash water, and swim. The sea was engaging. Mazandi Daba's husband was a strong, handsome man. His name was Zenzele. Zenzele was a sculptor. He would see a bee or a butterfly flying around, immediately capture the image in his mind and come home, take a piece of wood and start carving it out. Soon, word of Zenzele's work went far and wide, and people from this village and that village would come to see his work. Things were fine in Mazandi Daba's life for some time, but she felt something was missing. And in fact, something was missing. Can you tell me what it was? Can you? Children? Adults? Anybody? Live audience? No? Think. Something was very, yes. No. Pardon? Go ahead. Family time, no. Yes, there were no stories. Absolutely no stories. Can you imagine? There were absolutely no stories. So tragic, so sad. Every day, people would gather around the fire and see the stars growing from hundreds to thousands to millions, hoping that the stars would give them a story. They would listen to the wind going, ooh, and hope that the wind would give them a story. They would hear the insects going, "Tweet, tweet, tweet," and hope that the insect would give them a story. But absolutely nothing. And finally, the children would finally yawn and go to sleep, but still no story. Zenzele knew that Mazandi Daba definitely wanted to give her children stories, so he suggested that she go to the forest nearby and maybe the animals would help her with a story or two. Mazandi Daba set out the very next day on her journey. The first animal she met was the trickster hare. Yes, 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 yes. I know a story. I can tell you, yes. Trickster hare, he didn't know any story. The next animal she met was Mother Baboon. You want a story? You cook for your children, you clean for your children and take care of them. And now you want to give them stories? Thank God I don't have children and I'm not a human being. Mamba the snake said, I don't even know what a story is, and slithered away into the grass. The owl was cross and said, do you know I'm awake at night and sleep during the day? You're coming to my bed sleeping time, and went back to sleep. Mazanti Daba was about to give up all hope of getting a story when she saw a huge elephant coming in her direction. She begged the elephant for the story, and the elephant said, I don't know any story, but I think that eagle that soars high in the sky would give you a story. Mazandi Daba thanked the elephant and went home. The next day, she was standing outside her house on the portico, looking at the sea, when suddenly a huge fish eagle comes landing with a big fish in his mouth in front of her. Mazandi Daba's heart and her mind didn't know anything. She was so excited, and eagle and eagle and eagle, like how we would get so excited, and started running towards the eagle and said, Eagle, wait, wait. Well, yes, baby. Then dropped his fish and said, what do you want? Why do you want me? What do you want? Look, you made me drop my lunch. Mazanti Zaba said, oh, eagle, oh, eagle, oh, eagle, you have to give me a story. You have to give me a whole story. You have to give me, please, please, please. Eagle said, I have no stories, and see what you've done. But then Mazanti Daba said, oh, wise eagle. The minute the eagle heard that he was being called wise, he said, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're calling me wise. Well, let me tell you, there are absolutely no stories on the world. They're all underground, where the spirit king and queen and the spirit people live. My friend the dolphin tells me that, and he'll be more than happy to take you there. Mazandaba was so excited that she was ready to jump into the sea the minute, not knowing what was going to happen. Wait, 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 said the eagle. Why in such a hurry? Let me get my friend the dolphin. And Mazandi Daba had to wait. She had no choice, right? She didn't know who the dolphin was. The eagle flew away, and after some time, the dolphin arrived. And Mazantaba turned to the dolphin and said, Swabono, dolphin. He was such a kind, generous, warm-looking dolphin. And Mazandidaba just looked at him as if he had some magical powers in him. The dolphin asked Mazandi Daba to get onto his back, hold on to his fin, and that their adventure was ready to begin. And with a large splash, they started going down to the underwater sea. Duduk, 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 duduk. And slowly, they went down and down. And when Mazandi Daba reached the underwater sea, she was in for a feast for her eyes, for the spirit people. Do you know what they had in their eyes? They were as if there were stars in them. And when they spoke, it was as if music was coming out of their mouth. Mazandi Daba was welcomed by the spirit king and queen, the spirit king said, "Of course, I'll give you stories, but what will we get in return?" Mazandi Daba did not know what to give such a beautiful land and to the people. But then the spirit queen said, "We cannot come up to where we are living, but we would like to know where our stories are going. Perhaps you could give us a picture of your family, your children, everybody in your village." Mazandi Daba immediately knew what she had to do. She asked them for some time and came back onto the shore with the dolphin. Anxiously waiting was her husband Zenzele and her 2 children. First, she promised the dolphin that she would meet him 3 days at sunrise, and then went home and told her family all that had happened. Zenzele knew he had a task in front of him. He took a beautiful piece of wood and started to carve out first his wife, who was so beautiful and pretty in his eyes, his 2 naughty children, his son and daughter, himself, strong and handsome and muscular, his family, and then all the animals that had helped Mazandi Daba. 3 days later, the beautiful sculpture was ready. Mazandi Daba placed it on her back and went to the shore where the dolphin was ready to take her once again, the spirit king and queen, and to the spirit land. When they arrived there, all the people, the spirit people, had never seen something so spectacular, so magnificent that Zenzele's work, and they all wanted to look at it. And after that, the spirit king and queen gave a beautiful pearl necklace to Zenzele as a gift for his work. Keeping that aside, Mazandi Daba was still waiting for what she had gone for, right? And then the spirit king took out a huge magical shell and gave it to Mazandi Daba and said, "In this shell, there are hundreds, thousands, and endless stories. All you have to do is put it to your ear and you will hear a story." Mazandi Daba thanked the king and queen from the bottom of her heart and went back onto the dolphin's back to the seashore. Waiting this time for Mazandi Daba was just not her husband Zenzele and her 2 children, but the people from her village, the next village, the next and the next. And can you imagine who else was there? Can you imagine? Yes. No. Yes. The animals, and do you remember who they were? The hare, the snake, the baboon, and his children, yes. Elephant, eagle, yes. The dolphin, yes. The elephant, baboon, the hare, the snake, the eagle, yes. All of them, we've listed all. Yes, super. They were all waiting. It was quite late in the afternoon when they all sat down to listen to the story. Mazandi Daba took the magical shell, placed it near her ear, and said, "Quasi quesa kela." Can we say that together? Quasi quesa kela, which means it happened a long time ago. Quasi, 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 which means in African language, we are ready to listen. And that is how they say the first story was told in the world. And then when she finished telling, they wanted one more and one more and one more. And then onwards, at every sunset, the people would gather around and Mazandi Daba would tell a story. That story traveled from one city to another, from one country to another, just like the story I'm telling you today. Thank you.
Yeah. That was an amazing story, Pooja. She's right here near me. So yes, to the audience, real audience first. Yes, please, please come here.
Samrut coming in. Samrut, Samyuk. Come.
So, ma'am, so we study in Lady Andal School.
Correct.
Our last unit was about globalization.
Okay.
And an observation I made was how you took a story from Africa,
Okay.
made it into a short rhyme from another part of the
Okay.
world.
Wow.
And at the ending of the story, you also made another connection.
Correct.
And I felt so I had to relate to it. And wow.
No, let him come.
Also, we have a thing called an exhibition.
Okay.
We put all our learnings, what and all we've learned from grade 1 and 5 because we're moving to the.
Yes, next high school, yeah, mid school, huh?
So our topic for the exhibition is actually storytelling.
Wow.
My friends here, Kian, Anaika, and Sanjit,
Huh.
they are my members.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
all of us
Those stories?
Storytelling.
Storytelling. Oh, you had an exhibition on storytelling.
We are going to do one.
You're going to do one. Wow.
And from your stories, I've learned a lot. And I just like to say the way you expressed it was really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, all. Yes. Come.
As Samyuk said, we can definitely relate to this for our exhibition.
Yes.
Also, this story, it made me learn a lot of new things. Also, a little bit of African.
But about African language.
My life started with a song.
Thank you. I also like the way you do that.
Plus, singing is one of my other hobbies
Oh, lovely.
when I'm not reading.
Okay. Nice to know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What's your name? You didn't tell us your name.
Anaika.
Anaika. Nice. You want to say something? No. So sweet.
So there is a discussion going on. There's a little girl who wants to say something, but she is waiting for some permission from somebody. Why don't you come up and take permission from here?
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't want to say. You can say whatever is there in your mind. Okay. 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 So now let's go to the real people. Yes. Anybody? Okay. Yes. Okay. Vanna, do you want to say something on the story?
Yeah, it was good. It was too good, and I would like to have that shell actually, where you can put and get a story every day. So the family concept, the animal, the way she did it, the intonation, Pooja. So it's a really good job, and kudos to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Anybody else? Pratigya?
Well, I have just received instructions that only one person on camera because you're going out of focus.
Sorry.
As a storyteller, you need to see
Okay.
it. I wouldn't want to be more.
Okay.
Only thing I would like to add, if I can squeeze in there. No, I can't. I'm sorry.
No, you have to sit.
Yeah, I do. So yes, a wonderful story, Pooja. I really loved it a lot.
Thank you.
Relating it to our festival, like how you have the magical shell that you were talking about. I think at Chennai and at the festival, for us, the magical shell is probably Eric's World Storytelling YouTube channel. So every time you want to listen to a story, just go to YouTube. Eric, please correct me if I've got your channel name wrong, but I think it's World Storytelling Institute. So if you go to that channel on YouTube and say, I want to listen to a story, there'll be loads and loads of them. So just wanted to add that. And he needs to have an African story which talks about how stories came to the world. About, I don't know if you've heard the Anansi story.
Yes.
Yes. So how from the same land there are so many stories talking about how stories started.
Absolutely.
So that is one of the stories that I love to say, and this is a new one for me. So thanks a lot. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Sheetal,
Yes, Eric.
our host nearby, it would be wonderful to hear from our host.
I'm sorry.
Our host.
Yes,
that
yes,
is-
yes,
is-
yes, yes, yes. I'm coming to her, Eric. So thank you very much, Pooja, for this wonderful story. And yes, I have heard it second time, but I enjoyed the way I had heard it for the first time. So thank you so much. And we are here coming to the end of today's session. We would heartfully like to thank Dr. Subhashri Vijay Kumar from Goethe Institute who helped us arrange this hybrid session today. And I would like to come invite her on stage to say a few words.
Yeah. Guten Tag, good afternoon, and at the outset, hearty thanks to all the storytellers who have joined us online and offline here. We thoroughly enjoyed sitting and listening to all the stories across the globe with different flavors, expressed so beautifully. So I'm really indebted to Dr. Eric for introducing the Story Festival to us and for choosing to do it along with Goethe Institute this year also. Last year was the first time we partnered with Eric to do this at the Institute. Many of us here sitting at the Institute know us, so I don't think I'll have to talk about Goethe Institute to them. But to all my online viewers, Goethe Institute is a cultural institute of the German the Federal Republic of Germany Cultural Institute. And we have been doing a lot of sessions here, especially post-pandemic. So storytelling, arts and crafts sessions, reading camps, all this have been a regular event at the Institute, at the library especially. And here have been a big part of all our events. So I would just like to thank all the organizers here who have taken the effort to bring all of you online and to this space in this hybrid model. And we look for many such stories and many students to come along and listen and benefit out of it. A special thanks to the teachers who have taken pain to bring the kids and the parents who have accompanied them. Yeah. It's nice to see them on a Saturday afternoon sitting and enjoying stories and singing along with everybody. And once again, I would like to thank all the storytellers who've joined us from Sweden, Berlin, and other countries out there. Yeah, thanks a lot and have a great day. Schönen Tag und herzlichen Dank nochmals.
Yes. So we come to the end of today's session. Thank you everyone who joined online, and thank you to all of them who could make it come here today. Yes, Eric, I would request we can have an offline session in this auditorium very soon. Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
And we all want